Welcome, Bronco Nation. My three keys to the game versus UNLV. The game, if it happens, will be on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Of course, there's a little bit of speculation about whether or not the game's going to go ahead. Coach Harsin was hesitant about it in his press conference after the San Jose State game got canceled. But if it goes ahead, these are going to be the three keys to the game for Boise State. If it doesn't end up going off, make sure you watch my top 25 rooting video so you know what games to keep an eye on. Big opportunities with Boise State this weekend as far as those matchups go. So let's get right into it then. Boise State is favored in this matchup by 28 points, and they're going to need a very dominant win if they're going to want to have any shot at all at New Year's Six. And those shots are slim right now, but there's still a possibility. So key number one is Boise State needs to score over 50. Boise State needs to prove to the committee that they are different from the pack of the Mountain West, that they are not just an average group of five team, that they are an exceptional team to be considered above the rest. And part of that is meeting the eye test. It's part of the reason that BYU is even really ranked right now as high as they are, since even though they've played almost nobody, and if you look at their overall schedule, they have about as weak a schedule as, say, Coastal Carolina or Marshall, but they're ranked ahead of them because they dominate. Boise State right now, sorry, a little bit of a tickle there, catching my throat. Sorry. Boise State right now is averaging 40 points per game. When Bachmeier Sears are their starting quarterbacks, they're averaging 45.75 points per game. UNLV has allowed 38 points per game on average, with the lows of 34 versus San Diego State and San Jose State and high of 45 versus Wyoming. Boise State needs to prove that they're not just another San Diego State, San Jose State, Wyoming, or any other Mountain West team, that they are beyond that. They need to score over 50 in this one if they want to make a statement win against a weak opponent. Boise State had a real shot a real punch in the gut last week by not playing San Jose State and Nevada losing to Hawaii. Boise State lost a quality regular season opponent against San Jose State, and they lost the opportunity to potentially play a ranked Nevada team, or at least an undefeated Nevada team, in the Mountain West Championship game. All of those with dominant wins for the rest of their season, and certain things happening in the top 25, which my top 25 rooting guide goes into, and Cincinnati getting a playoff slot. So you're seeing there's a lot of moving pieces, but if those things had gone into play, Boise State with win over San Jose and Nevada would have been a big contender for that New Year's Six slot. Not so much now. Now they have to absolutely dominate to catch the eye, because they're not going to catch the eye with their strength of schedule. So scoring over 50 is going to be the first time. Boise State has only scored 50 against Nevada UNLV, one time back. 52 points they scored against Nevada 3 matchups ago. That was the last time that they've ever scored over 50 points against Nevada. They're going to need to do it again, though, if they're going to want to impress and keep their slim but still possible hopes at a New Year's Six alive. Obviously, though, Boise State's already in for the Mountain West Championship if they stand defeated. So at the end of the day, what they really need is a W. But if they still want a shot, since the Mountain West Championship is pretty much guaranteed right now, if they want to play for something greater, play for something beyond, they need to get that 50 more. Second key is going to be stop the quarterback run. Boise State struggled mightily last week with Hawaii. Last week, because game with San Jose State got canceled. All my weeks are out of whack now. So 2 weeks ago, they against Hawaii, when they played against Cordero, the mobile quarterback there. He had over 90 yards rushing against Boise State. And honestly, if Hawaii had really leaned on Cordero in the run game, they could have maybe scored a lot more points, maybe even competed to win that game, even more so than they did at the end there. Because Cordero, every time he took off with the ball, except for a few times, he pretty much had all the grass he wanted up in the second level there. So the UNLV quarterback has over 191 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. He only has 599 passing yards, so not a great passer, 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, but he has 191 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, and he's had 2 games where he's rushed for 70 or more. So Boise State, or 60 or more. Boise State really needs to watch this guy and keep an eye on him. The main threat at UNLV is going to be their run game, because their running back right now has 347 yards, averaging 3.7 yards per carry. Pretty nice average there. So their main threat is going to be the run game. So Boise State's going to be emphasizing on that. But in the midst of that, they can't forget about the quarterback run, because that's going to be something that UNLV, having seen that tape, I'm sure is going to be exploiting against a Boise State defense right now that's a little bit inexperienced, losing some key starters on the defensive line, linebackers, and And in the secondary a little bit there, Boise State's they're a motivated group, they're energized, but their eye discipline hasn't been great this year, so they're really going to need to step that up this week. So that's the second step. Third key is going to be don't let up in the second half. I kind of talked about this in my last video, which didn't end up coming to fruition with the game getting canceled, but Boise State is averaging on defense an outstanding first half. They're only giving up 8.6 points in the first half. In the second half, however, this is going to shock you if you didn't watch my last video, Boise State is giving up 20.8 points in the second half. 28.8 points. Against Hawaii, Boise State was up midway through the third, up 33-9. It looked like it was going to be an absolute thrashing. And then they ended up only winning by 8 points, 40-32. Because Hawaii came back and scored 3 touchdowns to draw the lead closer up there. So Boise State really needs to be dominant in this one. Don't give up in the second half. Boise State's probably going to have a big lead in the first half on this one. This is not a very good UNLV team. In fact, it's one of their worst teams. So the UNLV team is not very good, so Boise State's probably going to have a significant lead going into the half there. Boise State needs to keep the foot on the pedal, keep the gas all the way going until the clock hits 0-0 in the fourth, so Boise State can get away with that dominant win that will give them a chance to be in consideration for potential New Year's Six if some things happen ahead of them. So, in summary, going over here, we've got 3 keys: score over 50, stop quarterback run, and don't let up in the second half. Again, this is a very bad UNLV team. They've tried 3 different quarterbacks throughout the seasons. All 3 of them combined only have 870 passing yards. Bachmeier has almost that by himself with 748. Of course, Boise State's tried out a few quarterbacks themselves, but they have at least 1,291 passing yards. So not a very good passing season. This is their main threat is going to be their run game. They're averaging 3.7 yards per carry for their main running back there. But this is a UNLV team that lost their had their head coach fired. Their new head coach didn't have time to institute his system, like a lot of coaches, new head coaches across the country, with COVID coming in, cutting out spring practices there, and then limited fall practice. It's a difficult step for him. I think that UNLV has the potential perhaps to get better going forward, better than they did with their last coach at least. But right now, this is a UNLV team that's really, really down in the dirt, and Boise State should be able to crush them this weekend. That's the hope. Boise State they need to dominate. UNLV is giving up 472.6 yards per game on defense. This should be a game that Boise State should be able to take advantage of. Bachmeier, who has looked really good coming through from getting taken out with COVID, coming back, he's looked really, really good. He really started to kind of step into it in the Hawaii game. He really looked like he was getting into a rhythm against a soft UNLV defense, maybe the worst defense that he's seen all week, all season. I expect him to come out strong. I expect him to get on target with his receivers, and it's something that he really needs to be able to do, because that's something that he struggled with a little bit, being slightly off target, and then even when he's been on target, his receivers have let him down a couple times. He had potentially 3 would-be touchdowns in that Hawaii game, ended up not being so. So he really he's right on the cusp of greatness right now. I think he's an incredible quarterback for Boise State. This is a game where he can really find his rhythm against a bad UNLV defense coming into their final game next week against Wyoming. Boise State's final game next week against Wyoming, and then the Mountain West Championship game beyond that, and then who knows. This is a really great opportunity this whole year, because he's going to maintain his eligibility. Is just a great year to really practice, hone his skills after that bad injury, devastating injury last year that took him out when he was having such an incredible freshman year. This is kind of like a practice do-over year where he can get back into it going into next season, where he's going to be incredible. But this is going to be a great opportunity against a bad UNLV defense to kind of get into that rhythm. And then Van Buren, who we saw play great against Hawaii. Best effort I've seen from Van Buren all season against Hawaii. Great speed, great maneuverability, great power. He looked like a suitable backup or a suitable replacement to Holani. Of course, Holani is going to be the best running back, and as soon as we can get him back, it's going to be great. Maybe with the cancellation, he's able to come back for this week after having another week on the sideline to kind of prep and get back. Who knows? It might still be a week or so before he gets back in. Nothing official that I've heard, but Van Buren should have a field day against this defense, or at least a very profitable day against this defense that is a very bad UNLV defense, giving up over 250 yards on the ground right now per game. So Looking at the score predictions, Boise State's won 5 in a row in the FBS era. Hasn't lost since the FCS. I think the last time, since being in the FBS, the last time they lost was in the 70s, like 75 or something like that. So my score prediction, I think Boise State's going to fulfill my first key. I think they're going to score 56 points. I think that they're going to play pretty good defense overall, not let up too much in the second half, only allow about 17 points. So 56 to 17 is my final score prediction. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that the game happens to begin with. We all do. But if it does, I hope that it goes off without a hitch. Boise State, I think, is going to have a really great opportunity for this game. All right, if you really enjoyed these videos, please make sure to like and subscribe. As always, I have videos that I release on a regular basis, top 25 reviews, reviews of the game, Boise State alumni stat reviews for each of the NFL weeks. So make sure that you like and subscribe. And, of course, join the Bronco Nation Updates page. We have over 8,000 members, a great community to join in with Boise State fans across the nation. All right, thank you so much for watching. Go Big Blue.